Today, May 28th, the Pacific Northwest just woke up to the most dangerous storm setup in years. Right now, 85 miles per hour gusts, quarter-sized hail, and a tornado threat targeting 2.6 million people today. 15 tornadoes already struck Oregon this week, a state that normally sees 2 in an entire year. 2 storm vortexes spinning simultaneously across Texas make this one of the wildest weather maps of 2026. Here is what is driving all of this, and once you see the big picture, everything makes sense. A powerful upper-level low is locked over the Sierra Nevada and barely budging, and that is the problem. No joke, a parked low like this one acts like a weather machine, spinning storm energy in every direction. A disturbance riding the northern edge of that low is tracking from Nevada into eastern Oregon by tonight. By late afternoon, a surface low develops right along the Idaho-Oregon border, and it migrates north fast. That surface low is the ignition switch, and good grief, it is already developing ahead of schedule. Steep lapse rates are arcing from the Snake River Valley all the way through Oregon and into Washington. Those lapse rates, no two ways about it, produce the evaporative cooling that drives severe downdrafts. MLCAPE of 1,500 joules per kilogram is showing up in northern Oregon and western Idaho. That is significant. Good Lord, 1,500 joules in a region that rarely sees 500 is what has every forecaster watching closely. Model soundings show steep low to mid-tropospheric lapse rates favorable for explosive severe downdraft development. The bottom line, severe outflow from bow echoes and fast-moving clusters is the primary hazard today. Folks, the Storm Prediction Center issued a slight risk level 2 of 5 for the Columbia Basin today. That slight risk covers 100,258 square miles and puts 2.6 million people directly in the impact zone. Spokane, Yakima, Boise, Bend, and Kennewick, Washington are all named in the SPC population table. The primary hazards today, severe wind gusts 60 to 85 miles per hour, large hail, and a possible tornado. Let that sink in. 85 mile per hour gusts would match the wind speed of a Category 1 hurricane on land. The SPC tornado probability sits at 2%, covering 41,608 square miles and 917,000 people. Bend, Kennewick, Richland, Pasco, and Lewiston, Idaho are all inside that tornado probability zone today. Wind probability at 15% covers 448 square miles. Spokane, Yakima, Boise, and Bend are in it. Hail probability at 15% covers 41,626 square miles. Bend and the Kennewick corridor are the core. Plain and simple 3 hazards flagged simultaneously across one region is not a normal day out here. Here's the context that makes today's tornado threat genuinely jaw-dropping for this part of the country. Oregon has recorded only 134 tornadoes in the entire history of record-keeping going back to 1950. That averages out to just 2 tornadoes per year, less than 1 per season in most years. 15 tornadoes touched down in the Pacific Northwest in the last 5 days alone, I kid you not. 5 times the annual average in less than 1 week, and the setup today could push that number higher. The strongest Oregon tornado on record was an F3 in April 1972 that killed 6 people in Vancouver, Washington. Nobody has ever died in a tornado in Oregon, but today is not the day to get comfortable with that stat. Today's conditional maximum tornado intensity is EF1, brief and localized, but capable of real damage. Linda, a retired nurse in Bend, asked if she should shelter in place this afternoon. Linda, absolutely yes. Oregon historically sees its rare tornadoes in the Willamette Valley. Today's threat is east of the Cascades. East of the Cascades means Bend, LeGrand, John Day, and Burns are in the most vulnerable zone today. A bow echo sweeping through eastern Oregon travels at 40 to 50 miles per hour forward speed. That speed means you have maybe 10 to 15 minutes between a warning and impact. Do not wait to act. Let me give you the exact timing window so you can plan your afternoon around this threat right now. Denla Granite, Oregon, your storm window opens first, targeting the 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. time frame. Kennewick, Pasco, and Richland, Washington, the Tri-Cities, are flat out in the core of the threat zone. For Spokane, heads up, your window is roughly 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. tonight. Stay alert all evening. Yakima Valley resident storms arrive between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. Your peak window is right at dinner time. Walla Walla and the Palouse, you're on the northern fringe, but gusty severe cells are absolutely possible. Boise, Caldwell, and Nampa, Idaho, honest to goodness, initial activity could reach you by early afternoon. The severe threat does not end until after midnight as activity pushes into interior Washington overnight. Leave your city in the comments. I will personally check the latest model data for your area tonight. Now let's move southeast. East central Colorado has a completely separate severe weather story today. The Denver cyclone is expected to fire by this afternoon, and good grief, that cyclone means business. Topographic lift along the Front Range combined with increasing low-level convergence fires scattered storms. The Palmer Divide corridor north through Fort Collins is in the hail zone from late afternoon onward. Forecast soundings show 20 to 30 knots of deep layer shear that organizes cells into hail-producing machines. Denver, Aurora, Lakewood, Colorado Springs, and Fort Collins are all named in the SPC marginal risk today. That marginal covers 90,304 square miles and 4.76 million people across Colorado's densely populated Front Range. Folks in Denver, cover your vehicles before 2 p.m. and do yourself a solid. Stay aware of the radar. Bob, a retired electrician near Fort Collins, asked if this is serious. Bob, cover that car right now. I need to stop right here because what is happening in Texas today is something truly rare to witness. 2 Mesoscale Convective Vortexes, dual MCVs, are spinning simultaneously across the state of Texas. One MCV is rotating near Amarillo and Lubbock. The second is tracking from San Antonio toward Houston. An MCV is a low-pressure vortex created by persistent thunderstorm complexes that keep spinning over land. They enhance shear locally, generate tropical air funnels, and produce tropical-like tornadoes, no joke. Seeing 2 MCVs in the same state simultaneously is something storm chasers call once-in-a-career rare. Storm chaser Stephen Jones confirmed both vortexes on satellite imagery this morning. This is verified. These dual MCVs are flat out behaving like 2 miniature tropical systems rotating over dry Texas land. Each MCV typically spans 100 to 300 kilometers and persists for 12 to 36 hours after initial formation. Dallas sits right in the interaction zone where moisture from both MCVs could collide and explode today. That collision zone between 2 MCVs can trigger new thunderstorm development within minutes. Stay sharp. Tropical air funnels from MCVs are brief and localized, but they can peel roofs and snap trees quickly. Here's the part that has meteorologists genuinely talking both MCVs are strengthening, not weakening. The last documented case of dual MCVs in Texas simultaneously was flagged as statistically extraordinary. If you see a rotating cloud column not attached to a visible thunderstorm in Texas today, get inside immediately. Dallas, Shreveport, Houston, Oklahoma City, and Wichita, these MCVs are your storm driver today. Carol, a retired rancher near Lubbock, asked if her livestock are safe. Carol, get them into shelter now. Meanwhile, a wind advisory is active across Nevada, Utah, and Arizona, and this one has real travel impacts. White Pine, Southern Lander, Southern Eureka, and South Central Elko counties in Nevada are under this advisory. Sustained winds of 20 to 30 miles per hour with gusts near 50 miles per hour are confirmed and blowing dust cuts visibility badly. 50 miles per hour gusts on open Nevada highways can roll a recreational vehicle or flip a trailer plane in simple. This advisory runs from 7 a.m. through 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time today if you're hauling anything tall through Nevada. Wait. High-profile vehicle drivers on I-80 and US 50 across Nevada, you better believe it, use extreme caution today. I need to come back to something the SPC just quietly upgraded, and it affects your Memorial Day weekend. For Saturday, May 30th, the Storm Prediction Center has issued a slight risk for western Nebraska and South Dakota. Rapid City, North Platte, Rapid Valley, and Sturgis are named in the population table 264,884 people. An upper-low ejects in negative tilt fashion across the northern Rockies Saturday. That is a textbook severe setup. Negative 12 Celsius at 500 millibars combined with low 60s dew points. This is a recipe for large hail. Surface winds backing to southeasterly at 850 millibars enhances storm relative inflow into those afternoon cells. Large hail and brief tornado potential are both named explicitly by the SPC for Saturday. Mark that down. Storms then merge into an MCS with damaging winds pushing east through the evening into Nebraska and Iowa. Earl, a retired rancher near Rapid City, asked about the weekend. Earl, Saturday afternoon, have your plan ready. Burn this into your memory. Saturday is a Memorial Day storm event, not a weekend drizzle. The Black Hills region gets spectacular weather. Most Memorial Day weekend, Saturday 2026, is the exception. Anyone hiking, camping, or driving through the Black Hills Saturday afternoon needs a weather exit plan. Plains residents, drop your city below, and I will cover your exact Saturday timing in tonight's updates. Saturday also hits Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, and the instability numbers are genuinely staggering. Model output is showing 2,000 to 3,000 joules per kilogram MUCAPE across the Southern Plains Saturday. To put that in perspective, 2,000 joules is the threshold where tornado-producing supercells become likely. Upper 60s dew points baking under afternoon sun create that kind of explosive energy by 2 to 3 p.m. Saturday. A dry line extends from central Kansas through western Oklahoma into northwest Texas classic supercell territory. Slow-moving supercells along that dry line can drop baseball-sized hail and produce brief, violent tornadoes. Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Wichita, Abilene, and Norman are all inside the Day 3 marginal risk zone Saturday. That marginal covers 234,831 square miles and 6 million people. This is not a small Saturday threat. I kid you not, the Saturday evening window from 5 p.m. to midnight is the highest risk period for the plains. Anyone hosting an outdoor Memorial Day cookout in Oklahoma or Kansas, move it inside or have a shelter plan. For Saturday, that Friday, May 29th, brings its own storm corridor from Montana all the way to Louisiana. The SBC Day 2 marginal covers western Montana, the central high plains, and the southern plains Friday. And here's the kicker about Friday. A cold front drives through western Montana with a deepening trough. Helena, Missoula, and the Bitterroot Valley, y'all are in the Friday marginal risk for gusty storms and hail. Across the Front Range, Denver and Fort Collins could see strong to locally severe outflow gusts Friday evening. A 50 to 70 knot upper-level jet arrives over eastern New Mexico and western Texas Friday afternoon. Cool mid-level temperatures under that jet support marginal hail from Albuquerque through Lubbock and Amarillo. Storms can also fire from Oklahoma into northeast Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana with isolated gust potential. Shreveport, Texarkana, and Little Rock sit on the eastern edge of the Friday severe corridor heads up. Now here is the piece that ties every storyline this week together, and it is the most dangerous one. A slow-moving frontal boundary is stalled across the southern U.S., acting as a factory for repeated storms. No joke, because this boundary barely moves, storms keep training over the exact same locations every day. Training storms on saturated soil is the deadliest flooding setup in American meteorological history. The Weather Prediction Center maintains a slight risk for excessive rainfall across the Gulf Coast states. Miami, Tampa, Orlando, and Jacksonville face daily heavy rain through the entire first week of June. New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Mobile are in the zone where training storms can stack up 6 to 10 inch totals. Good grief, 10 inches of rain on ground that is already soaked to capacity means flooding within minutes. Sandra, a retired teacher near Baton Rouge, asked if the rain will ever stop. Not this week, I'm sorry. Turn around, don't drown is always the rule. Flooding kills more Americans every year than tornadoes do. Here is the complete Memorial Day weekend picture, the most important travel weekend of the year. Pacific Northwest of Saturday and Sunday bring clear skies after Thursday's severe weather finally passes. Here's the number that should get your attention for Saturday: 3,000 joules of MUCAPE in Oklahoma. Those instability values rival the strongest tornado outbreak days recorded in the past decade on the plains. Mark my words, Saturday evening from 5 p.m. to midnight is the highest risk window for the entire weekend. Northern Plains and the Black Hills. Saturday afternoon through early evening is your severe weather window. Southern Plains Sunday carries the best severe weather potential as the dry line surges eastward again. Gulf Coast and southeast rain every single day through the weekend. Turn around, don't drown every day. Mid-Atlantic and Northeast cooler than normal temperatures, light showers, no severe weather concerns. Chicago and the Great Lakes, genuinely pleasant Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy the break while it lasts. The Memorial Day weekend weather grade: dangerous for the plains, wet for the south, pleasant everywhere else. Margaret, a retired nurse in Oklahoma City, asked what the single most important action is this weekend. Margaret, enable wireless emergency alerts on your phone and know your interior shelter room before Saturday if a tornado warning is issued. Move to the lowest interior floor away from all windows immediately. Do not shelter under a highway overpass. Wind actually accelerates through that channel and becomes lethal. Large hail falls at 90 miles per hour and can crack windshields, injure pets, and destroy rooftop solar panels. Cover vehicles before severe weather arrives. Hail damage is excluded from many basic auto insurance policies. Have your go bag ready: 3 days of water, medications, food, flashlight, and a battery-powered NOAA radio. The Day 3, slight risk for Nebraska and South Dakota, covers 41,196 square miles, 264,884 people in the zone. Saturday's dry line stretches roughly 500 miles from central Kansas to northwest Texas, 6 million people exposed. MUCAPE of 3,000 joules per kilogram. Saturday rivals the instability recorded on some of the worst tornado days ever. Drop your city in the comments. The most requested location gets dedicated coverage in tonight's full update. 15 Oregon tornadoes in 5 days, 85 miles per hour Columbia Basin gusts, dual MCVs spinning across Texas simultaneously. 3 weather emergencies coast to coast on the same Thursday, and Saturday's plains setup could top all of it. Check back tonight because the 6 p.m. model run just posted and the Saturday tornado track is already shifting north.